Now, some of you are sad. Some of you are very happy not to have to look at me again. I understand both. But today we're going to talk about how do I know if I have the right kind of consent to contact a consumer. This is probably where you're really going to want to talk to your attorney. Get a legal opinion if you need it to make sure that you feel better about it. But I think of it as this way. So let's take the example of email. You want to email a customer, right? And your client gives you that email. Well, what else do they give you? Well, they give you a phone number, they give you an address, they give you and say, look, go contact this customer and please try to collect on the debt. So my question is, so before you send them a letter, do you get consent to send them a letter? I know, that'd be crazy, right? You have to send them a letter to be able to send them a letter to be able to send them a letter. Where does it end? And if you think about it on the phone, it's like you'd have to call them up and say, hey, I'm not calling you about a debt. I'm just calling you to get consent so I could call you about a debt. How would that even work? So really truly understand, where you need consent and what that consent could look like, because we skip trace, new phone numbers and new addresses all the time, right? And so do you get consent from the customer before you manually dial those or send a letter? I'm guessing the answer is no. It better be no. I mean, because if you figured out a way to do that without telling them it's about a debt, I sure as heck want to hear it. But you can do the same with email addresses, not so much with text messaging. Again, we come down to the TCPA, have to have that consent first. But if you think about social media, direct messaging, like we talked about in a prior video, why not be able to do that? You can do it through any medium, especially if they set up their account. A lot of customers today are either setting it up with their Facebook account, maybe a Twitter account, whatever it may be. So this is definitely an opportunity, but definitely one you're going to want to talk to your attorney about. And if you get the green light, then get those compliance people in the room so they can help build out your processes using policies and procedures to start, and then getting it all the way down as to who's going to respond, how do we respond, who sends the messages, all of those kind of things. And as you've seen through all these videos, it really just comes down to risk, right? And it's understanding what that risk is. And I think about it, regulatory risk. So what happens if you don't follow Reg F to the letter, or if you do, are you a large market participant? Litigation risk. I mean, you think about it, the changes that are happening with Reg F in our industry are going to cause a significant wave of litigation just by itself, just because there's just so much change. So we have litigation risk, reputational risk. Do you want to be one of those organizations that gets sued on this issue? I'm here to tell you, if you're in the debt collection space, it's only a matter of time. I'm sorry to say. Organizational risk, financial risk, and when you think about risk, always come back to what can I do to mitigate it? How can I eliminate it? And I think Reg F is going to drive a lot of agencies out of business, which is unfortunate because there's great ways to mitigate it and transfer it. And it's using your vendors, like Arbite, who are, focused on compliance and doing it right the first time. So it's really getting those things so that they can transfer some of that risk, eliminate that risk, or even mitigate risk. So, but your compliance folks are really where it's going to be helpful to you as you start to roll out some of these things. So I hope you've enjoyed these 6 videos as we've gone through them. I can tell you they've been a blast to do. And let's vote and push some pressure on Emily to do this again sometime in the future so we can, maybe it's a post-Reg F, like What the F Now could be the series or something. Anyway, until next time, it's been Tim. It's been fun.